Hi, I want to talk about something Red Light Rocket brought up, going back and forth with Inmentum. Um, the idea that imagination is God. Well, okay, I disagree with that, but I agree with the motivation of trying to capture something about what is spiritual about man. Where does man's worship go? Now, we do have to have faith. There is no way to not have some sort of thing that you could call faith. Now, as a skeptic, I don't consider it faith because I know I could be wrong, so it's not really faith, and yet I act on it as though I'm faithful. I plan that the sun will come up. I walk across a bridge, assuming I can get to the other side in most cases. But I know that, if you ask me, I know, well, I'm just making a judgment on the odds. Right. So that's a judgment on the odds. Faith. So where's my faith? Where is my faith that would almost be religious? Well, I happen to think that we're here, the universe is speaking to us, and we're supposed to learn from it. And that's where my defense of nature really comes from, is that we're supposed to be listening to the universe. And that doesn't mean we can't change the universe. I mean, one thing the universe tells us is to go ahead and try, And so that's all good. But anyway, where it's also, I've been talking about being a materialist. Well, what does this really come down to? Not imagination, but perception. Perception, is the God. We have to listen to perception. What our perceptions tell us, they will repeat and repeat. The undeniable aspects of reality, of our perceptions, that continually repeat in a pattern where even if you do deny it in some cognitive sense, it keeps truth knocking at the door of your perceptions, not your imagination, but your perceptions. And then, if you're healthy and smart and wise, you'll apply your imagination to these truths, but it is our perceptions that are driving these truths in. So as a materialist, but also a skeptic, what is material? Material things are a theoretical source for perceptions. What is objective reality? Objective reality is a theoretical source for our perceptions. And it's certainly out there, but when I'm arguing against objectivity, it's because of how it's been characterized. It is not an objective reality, it is a relative reality. But there's something out there, and this is true in the sense that there's something generating perceptions. We receive them. And is it the same thing as imagination is the ancient question. Well, I think we've made a pretty clear distinction between the two and what is different between the two. And we have a model, an objective model, in the sense that we see ourselves as objects, and we have a good theory of what is a lot of the characteristics of things that generate perceptions. But it is still perception. Even though we have used perception to see out into the world, and I believe that just like everybody else does, the primary thing is still that perception. And it's why we can't be sure that we aren't, in a computer simulation, because that applies to that threshold of perception. Anything that comes in as another explanation for the source of perception, it's going to be viable in the sense that it's going to be the right kind of a system grammatically to hook into this interface into our mind, which is perception. To decide between these, then we're going to have to rely on a metaphysical or an aesthetic principle, like Occam's razor, or something that suits us personally as to why we prefer one system rather than another.